Hey, I'm Chai and welcome back to the Ru&Chai channel. Today I'm back with another acrylic painting tutorial and this time we have a field of sunflowers. I absolutely had a lot of fun doing these, and one of those first times I had done a painting of a field of sunflowers was when doing one for a client, and I remember having so much fun doing all these vibrant colors, all these yellows together in front of a bright blue sky. And I also remember when we were coming back from a trip to Chandigarh airport and we saw another field similarly. I really wanted to get down from the cab and take some photos, but we would have missed the flight to Pune, so I couldn't do it at that time. So don't have really any memories, but I have seen a lot of photographs and it just inspires me a lot. I hope you guys enjoy watching this tutorial, so let's get started with it. To begin with, I do a very loose sketch of the sunflowers and their placement with each other. That helps me decide the composition that I should be going for here. Sunflower petals have this layered arrangement, and in this pencil sketch I am giving a hint of it so that it guides me as I go into the painting. I am composing this painting in such a way that it has a foreground, midground and a background. So here I am drawing the midground flower, and then I'll start doing these smaller flowers at the background so that it has a sense of depth as well. The flowers at the back won't have a lot of detail, so you need not spend a lot of time sketching them. Now moving on to the painting. The colors I'll be starting with are cobalt blue, sap green, cadmium yellow, white and permanent deep green. For painting the sky, I'm using a mix of cobalt blue and white. You can play around with the mix till you get a color that is satisfactory to you. Here I am adding a slight streak of white in the sky to give a feeling of a wispy cloud. Now as we move into painting the green at the back, I'll also be using a bit of a black to mark out some darker parts of the background. I'm going to use some burnt umber and yellow ochre to paint the middle of the flowers. I'm using the edge of the same flat brush I've been using to mark out the center part of this middle of the flower. But if you don't find yourself comfortable using this flat brush for this, you might as well use a round brush for this. Now I'm adding a bit of black to the burnt umber to create this extra dark center of the flower. Now here comes the most fun part, the part we have been waiting for, and that is painting these really bright and fun looking petals. I'm using cadmium yellow here, and each stroke is in the direction of the petal. Now here you have to be a bit careful so as to not have a bit of that wet blue seep into the yellow flowers, and it kind of creates this texture if it is happening in a very small scale. But if you let it happen too much, then it starts getting muddied up. So in that case, it might be wiser to wait for the blue sky to get dry and then you can continue painting the flower. Now I'll be mixing a bit of pearl orange to the cadmium yellow to create this mix of a color for adding some texture to these petals. By adding this texture, the flower stops looking like a flat thing and more of a dimensional object. For the flowers in the background, I'm using a small round brush, just enough to create those small petals. Just remember all the time that you are doing these petals, make sure that the strokes are in direction of the petals so that it has that flow of a natural thing. Now I'm adding some white to the cadmium yellow to paint these highlights on the flower, and that really brings out the layered nature of the sunflower. I'm using the narrower edge of the flat brush to create these narrow strokes at the end of the petals so that they have a bit of sharpness and they should not look blunt, otherwise it kind of ruins the feeling of the petals. For the flowers at the back, I'm again using the small round brush for the details and the highlights. Now I'm doing another round of highlights. Now moving on to painting the details of the seeds in the center, I'll be using colors like burnt sienna, yellow ochre and burnt umber in different combinations. I'm using a mix of burnt sienna and yellow ochre for painting the ones on the outsides of the center. And now I'm using a bit of yellow ochre to do the seeds at the center. And to complete the center, I'm going to add a bit of black and burnt umber together right in the middle. To paint these leaves, I'm using a mix of sap green and cadmium yellow to give this kind of bright green color, just right for it to stand out from the rest of the shadows at the back. Now I'm adding a bit of white to the cadmium yellow and sap green to add these highlights onto the leaves. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. And if you need any materials to do this painting, all of them are mentioned below in the video description. If you did enjoy this video, do hit like, do subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video very soon. Till then, bye bye.